All right, so let's actually talk about a very typical UI design approach. I call it top-down UI design and development. All right, so the idea is really simple. So whenever we got a new design and want to implement the UI in Flutter, all right, so you can always think about from the top level or root level and then break it down into the smaller levels and lower levels. Eventually you get all the widgets. All right, so let me show you an example. Now let's see, this one is one of the screenshot I found from Instagram, and there's some kind of a basic image view here, and then they also have this kind of a e-commerce type of page, and then there's a checkout page here, right? Pretty nice and clean UI. So let's say that the designers give us this design and we want to implement in Flutter, right? Looks like pretty complicated, a lot of widgets being used. You don't know how to lay out that. It's very overwhelming. All right. So in general, the best way to do all of this is to break it down to see what are the top level components first. All right. So for example, let's try this. I'm actually going to kind of draw this one. Let's look at this first screen here. And there is a kind of a title bar here. Okay. There's a kind of a section here in the middle and showing the images, and then at the end we show some of the buttons and some of the comments. Eventually you got a bunch of buttons at the bottom, right? So if we break it down, okay, I'm gonna separate it. So right here, this is the action bar, title bar, okay, and then this one here will be the central area. Okay, the central area, maybe this is the whole thing here. Okay, and then we also have the bottom navigation buttons. All right, so this is what I call like a top level. All right, so if I type the text here, make it clear. Now this is area 1 with all the app bar. All right, let me actually change the font color and to be the same. All right, and then with this one here, and this is actually the body part. All right, and then you got the the bottom navigation. Now, if you remember, Scaffold actually can take care of some of this, but then you don't have to use the Scaffold to implement the whole screen. You can just break down this one, and then since we talk about like a different UI layout, that you can do the column and rows, and then this one here, you see one button and a little icon logo and another 2 buttons. So it looks like they're all vertically. So this one here, you can do something with a row, and inside a row, you can contain a little button, maybe an image, another button, and another button, right? Something like this. So that's how you can implement this one with row. And then in the middle part here, you see this one here, image, and then some of the buttons here. Looks like it's vertical. So the best part here to implement is some kind of a column, okay? Because these are all like a vertical aligned. However, every row here is different, because like this one here, you need an icon, profile image, you need a text, and you need another button here. So obviously you will need a row here, right? So that's why if we break this down, guys, and then we can further analyze what we need to build for each section here. Okay, so I'm going to break it down. So oops, and then you will need to kind of do this one here, and then another one here, something like this, right? So inside this body, the column, okay, this part here, you probably will need a row. The row will need a image, text, and the button. All right, and then inside here, this part here is just an image, a big image, right? And then after that, you will come to here, which is another row of buttons. All right, and finally, bottom here. Okay, so here you also need to have some kind of a text. Okay, just to make it simple. All right, some kind of a text here. So as you can see, this whole middle part here, if you break it down every row, and some of them you do need a row, some of them just need one image. So eventually, that's what you should put to this body. So this whole body here has this column, and then the column will contain this row, an image, another row, and then text, right? So there's 4 elements. Okay, so that's how you can break it down the whole design into different levels. So I will start with the higher level first, and then get into each level to break further down to see what other layout or widget you will need to use. So pretty much any kind of app, you can use this approach to break it down and then to figure out whether you need to use column or rows. But for most of the application UI, I would say 95% of UI, you can just do the layout with only column and row. That's enough. It's actually very powerful. Like this one also like a Gmail app, right? So if you do the same kind of design, then very easily, so here is the top level, you got a bar here, and then in the middle, you basically have a whole list, and that's it. And then every list, you basically do the rows. Or if you look at other app, this is the Uber app, and the Uber app here, like this one here, the top level, it's a map view. In the middle section, you got a row with all the horizontal alignment. And then finally, you got another column with different rows in the column. So if you do this kind of design, you can quickly identify what's a layout you should use first, what's second, what should be contained, and then eventually what the little edit widget you should use. All right, so this is called top-down UI development. I would suggest that in the beginning, everyone follow this design to implement your UI interface.